Hello, cozy detectives, and welcome to the Blanket Fort Files. I'm Larissa,
And I'm Joy.
and we're here to report on all things comfy and cozy.
Woohoo! I'm excited. I'm in a weird mood. I tried to do my case file 10 whole minutes before we recorded, and it went horribly, but we will get there.
Feeling a little silly goofy,
LOL.
silly goose mood. Love it, love it.
Yes, yeah. Oof. It's the Nailed It episode. That's me. I am perfect. Or like, what is it? Something how to break down Bon appetit. I'm that bad.
I feel like we need to need a little deep breath for a
I
moment.
know. It's fine. We can be silly. It's our Blanket.
No, I know. I love it. I love it.
Okay, I'm excited. I want to hear all about it. The multiverse, the whole thing. What was your favorite moments?
I'm going to try to talk about it without tearing up because I cried so much while I was there.
I get it.
So I don't think I actually have mentioned on pod yet that I was going to this. If you follow Eating Gilmore, you may or may have not have seen, I don't know, Instagram's been real weird and like suppressing my content like hardcore.
No.
So you may not have known this, but if you didn't, I this past weekend went out to LA because Paley Fest had what they were calling the Amy Sherman Palladino Multiverse.
So cool.
And it was the closing night. I didn't realize Paley Fest was like a 2-week event. So it was going on for a while. And I was like, what a way to end.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. And so it was Amy and Dan. And then they had Lauren and Kelly from Gilmore Girls.
So cute.
They had Alex Borstein, Rachel Brosnahan, and Luke Kirby from Maisel. And then the actors from Amy's new show, Etoile, is Charlotte Gainsbourg and Lou Delage. They're both French.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it was a panel. They had a moderator asking questions, but it was so much fun. I will try not to eat up too much of the podcast time talking about it, but I do want to get into it. So it was at the Dolby Theater, which was kind of cool. I was really there just for this. Like I didn't go to do a lot of sightseeing on top of that because it was a short trip. It was also my birthday, which was really fun. And it's kind of cool too because even though we haven't hit our official year mark, we have been recording for over a year, which is kind of cool. And we like talked about my birthday towards the very beginning, so it's kind of to me in my head that really signals that we've hit a mark of the pod, which is super cool. But yeah, I was at the Dolby. I'd never been to LA or Hollywood before, and I stayed really close to the theater just because I was going by myself.
Smart.
And I don't want to be having to hike back or get a ride on my own.
Yeah.
So I was going to go kind of check out the Walk of Fame because the theater's right on there and my hotel is just around the corner. No, that street, I don't know if you've been
crazy packed. Yeah, I have been in the past.
It was so overstimulating. I've been to Times Square and like that obviously is a lot. I felt this like was so much more.
Were you close to the Chinese theater? Like kind of in like right middle there? I don't know if I know where you said it's the Dolby Theater?
Yeah. It's where the Oscars are.
Okay. I don't know how my brain isn't like figuring out where that's at, but yeah, it can be super overstimulating. And then there's like all the like I guess the same in Times Square, but there's like all like street performers too, so like the noise is just super loud.
That's what it was. It was just the noise because they had there was a bunch of like tourist trap booths set up, and then they had like street preachers, street performers, music. It was just so over, and I was so
like the whole of everything.
I was like, never mind. I'm gonna go back to my room until it starts. But anyways, enough of that. Let's get into the actual stuff while you're listening. So they started before anyone came on stage. They did like a sizzle reel of all of Amy's shows. I already started crying in that. No one was even on stage. It already made me tear up. Just the way, I don't know, because obviously there's elements of Amy's work that are very much pillars, but to see it all laid out together, like all of the dancing, and they they had shots from A Year in the Life and just the quotes and just really seeing, I'm going to tear up thinking about it, but
no,
just like,
but also like, you're about to see Amy, she's about to actually walk out. Like,
yeah.
Wild.
And so just like getting to see her work appreciated at that level, because, you know, with Gilmore, it was probably her most like fan favorite successful show, but Maisel was her most like critically acclaimed show.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that she's gotten that level of notoriety so that she can be celebrated for her other work as well. So yeah, they introduced them, they got them all mic'd up, and Amy came out. I'm not going to repeat it because we can't have, we don't like explicit warnings on our podcast, but she just said a little off-color line as soon as she walked out, and I was like, okay, I can stop crying now. It's fine.
So a lot of the things, so a lot of my questions, I'm like fiddling with stuff. A lot of my questions have to do with Amy, because I feel like we've seen a lot of the other like people that are on that stage in different interviews, but I feel like Amy is so private. Yeah. I feel like I haven't watched or seen too many things unless it's in the format of like the Gilmore Girls cast and crew is like on the couch and she's there as well. But does she really talk and feel and just kind of like naturally interact in the way that her characters do? I know that people say she's a lot like Laura.
That you literally took how I would describe it exactly. I literally sat there at one point, like I didn't have this thought right at first, but I had this thought and I was like, I literally feel like I'm watching an Amy show right now. Just because I feel like other writers and directors don't sound and talk the way that they write, but she does. Like she had callbacks to things earlier in the interview. She had her little bits, so she repeated things. She had little like singers, and it literally felt like watching a show that she had written, but it wasn't. It was just her talking.
Yeah. Wow, that is so cool. So even in like answering the questions, like she is that quick-witted in person right off the bat.
Yeah. And there was an interaction too that I want to talk about that also felt very Amy and her body of work, because obviously Gilmore Girls revolves around mother-daughter relationships. Even Maisel with Midge and Rose have a very interesting dynamic, very quick-witted, and her mom was actually there, and Amy mentioned that because she was kind of talking about her early life, and she used to be a dancer but then gave that up. And she knew that kind of disappointed her mom because her mom was a dancer, and that's, you know, and she's like, sorry you had to pay for all those dance classes for nothing. So her mom stands up and I see her because they put a light on her. I saw her in the bathroom earlier that night. I didn't know it was her mom because she had this really sparkly like sequin jacket on.
Cool.
And I heard her say something like she washed her hands. She's like, oh, that's really warm.
What a nugget.
Yeah. So she gets up and she's like yelling something, but she doesn't have a mic on, so no one can really hear. And so they have this whole little exchange, and Amy's like, sit down, stop yelling, no one can hear you. And she keeps going. And then she finally like screamed loud enough that like it was worth it. She kind of just had a line. I can't remember exactly what she said, but basically like joking of like, you made me pay for these dance classes. And it really felt like a mother-daughter relationship that Amy would have written. And so just to kind of see that play out completely organically, like that wasn't obviously scripted. And that was just really cool to witness. And of course, Amy had a classic Amy hat on too.
I saw that. I kind of like, I was like watching I was like, Larissa, give me the updates in the moment. You were so good. You're saying things. I was like, oh, wait, I want you to be in the moment too. Don't give me too
I know. I was like, I texted her right before. I was like, I'm here. And then I locked in. And then the moment it was done, I sent you on my phone. And then I met a cozy detective in real life. It was so exciting. I was actually like leaving I was outside the venue for a bit because I was trying to meet up with Gilmore Girls only because she was also there, but she was like working it as like a social influencer or whatever. So I think she got kind of caught up. But I was like, oh, I'm tired. I was just going to head to my hotel room, and but I hear, "Are you a Larissa?" And so I like turned around,
Cute.
and there was this sweet Mary, and she was like, I've loved you for a very long time. I love your content. She's like, I listened to the podcast and I really love the cozy vibes. I was like, I'm gonna tell Joy, like I'm just gonna tell her. And I was probably just like super awkward because I was so like emotionally overwhelmed. And I even said, I was like, this was just such an emotional thing. And like, I'm sorry if I didn't like, we could have taken a picture together. So I apologize that we didn't get to do that. But I was just like so swept up in everything. But it was just really cool to actually meet a cozy detective. Cause like I met a couple of followers when I met Lauren Graham. What was that, last year? Or now I guess 2023. But I hadn't listened to like since we started the podcast, so that was just very, very special. So shout out to Mary.
Yay! Happy Mary. That's so exciting. Yeah. I hope that you love that event too. Send us what you think of it. We'd love to like add that. Or, like, add a little something about it, because
for sure,
obviously we're talking about it because it's so exciting. But that's so fun.
I know. So I hope we could meet cozy detectives more in the future. That would be really special.
That'd be amazing. I always see, hey, do not hold me to this, but I always see those like getaway things where it's like, just need a craft weekend or something. And I'm like,
oh yeah,
that is so fun. But like, that'd be way
I know.
But
well, and
we shouldn't meet each other.
Truly, Joy was going to try to come, but it just didn't work out. But
budgets. Boo, budgets. But we'll figure it out though. We got plans. It was awesome. Because how long was it?
About 2 hours. So I was appreciative that it didn't go super late because I'm not a night person, but it also like they really got to showcase her full body of work. They even talked about Bunheads because Kelly Bishop was on Bunheads. Sutton Foster wasn't there, but she did send a little video message to everyone, which is kind of cool. And we got to hear more about this new project. Yeah. And I knew like they filmed in Paris because
Yannick is in it, right?
Yeah.
Is it Yannick or Yannick?
I don't actually know. I've heard it both.
I have too. I'm like, I want to say it the French way because it's the French.
Yeah. But the two actresses that they had were both French, and one of them, Lou, actually learned English for this role.
Wow. So casting, I would presume, was in France then as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know what the plot is? Did they talk about that at all?
Yeah, they actually showed. So the trailer for it dropped publicly, I think a day or two before, and then they played it there. Basically, it's about different ballet companies, and they're trying to like revitalize, and it's really a celebration of ballet, which I've talked about this a little bit before, but I did ballet for 16 years. So I'm super excited. And it feels like what Amy kind of could have done with Bunheads had she had the budget, because she talks about that, and she talked about that at the panel with Maisel, because every time they had an idea for Gilmore, it was budget. We don't have money. We don't have, like, they had zero money. Like, she had to put in a lot of her own money for certain stuff. And so Maisel just was like, okay, this is what an Amy show would look like without budget constraints. And this is going to feel like what Bunheads could have been without the budget constraints. But yeah, one of the things Amy said, because she's just she's very sarcastic. She's very brash, but I love her for it. But she was talking about her directing, and when she would direct Lauren or Rachel, she talked a lot. She had a lot of notes, and then she would try to direct Lou, and she talked about like a curtain would just like come down because she's like, I don't understand a lick of what you're saying. So then Amy would bring in a translator, and then Lou would have to learn, and they figured out a new way to kind of communicate and direct, and I'm very excited to watch it. Yeah, I
am too. Do you know, I mean, this is more brass tacks of it, but do you know what it's streaming on?
Prime.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because Maisel. Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. Because so it was a celebration of Amy. Were there any new to you stories that like either Lauren or anybody had said that like was pretty new?
Yes and no. I think Not necessarily with Lauren or Kelly, because I've read all of their
Yeah.
memoirs, so I know them pretty well, and I've, you know, heard a lot about Amy. But I think it was more so just kind of learning, not necessarily her process, because she did talk a little bit about her writing and directing process, but I think it was more so just getting to hear her passionately talk about these projects in person versus just like watching an interview on YouTube.
Yeah.
And just seeing how she interacts with the cast, because obviously we've seen her interact with the Gilmore cast, but and a little bit with Maisel, but not all at once. And just I've said this already, but she is that quick-witted. Like, someone will say something and she has a response to it, and someone is answering a question and she has a response to it. Like, she's so quick. And just to see that, and also just to see her and Daniel's dynamic was really interesting as well. And seeing Kelly and Lauren together, I'm gonna tear up talking about them too, because they are a mother-daughter, like, on stage. Like,
absolutely,
they hugged and held on to each other when they walked on. Lauren helped her off the stage, or like out of her seat, but then they like skipped off the stage together. And so just seeing them interact was also really special too.
Yeah, I still need to watch Parenthood, I know, but I feel like their interaction is very similar in like my view or my mind's eye to Lauren and
Mae Whitman.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's a very similar type of dynamic of just like a lot of mutual respect. And I feel like also certain things about how just in the ages that they were when they were filming those projects, the things that they were going through really, I feel like, allowed for the mother-daughter type of dynamics that they still carry through to today.
Yeah. And they've talked about it. Valerie talked, which I got to see her for a quick second, which was really cool.
So cool.
But obviously, as we all know, their hours were so long. But Amy was talking about with her new show in France, they have very strict regulations. So they would work for like 8-10 hours and then they'd be done. They could be like mid-shot and the crew would be like, bye, we're out. So that was like a new process also for Amy of like, oh, we actually have to like
work-life balance.
Keep to a schedule. And you could kind of see Lauren and Kelly just kind of like side eye each other of like, must be nice. And then Amy was talking about just like script process, and Lauren kind of like teased her of like, yeah, I would be in the makeup chair and you'd still be like giving me the script. Like, I would try to be learning my lines while I was getting done up. And Amy's like, oh,
was like, you're good enough to do it. It's fine. But I feel like that's one of those things too, where also when you're just so passionate about something and you've like not only found your niche, but really clicked into it, and you're like in the process of doing the thing that you love to do, I feel like time just like flows like nothing else. And I can totally see how Amy could just click into his own and just be like, okay, let's redo this. Or like, okay, we're moving to the next scene or whatever it is. And I love that. I'm excited to see. I love France and all of the places there, and just such a fun, unique culture that I feel like I'm really excited to see, like maybe not Amy's version of it, but like that Amy sparkle.
Yeah, and we get a little bit of that in Maisel because they do go to Paris for a bit. It's not obviously the whole show or even a whole season, but they do go there.
Cool. Have you watched all the way through Maisel?
Yes. No.
No, me neither.
And seeing everyone talking about it,
you're like, oh man,
I really want to finish it. I'm so bad. And I've talked about this before. I'm so bad about watching TV. And now we're on this like very intense seasonal movie watch list. So I'm like, although I am coming up to my end of my Friends rewatch, and I do need to do a new show. So I think I don't know if I'm going to fully restart Maisel, but I think I'm going to finish that. So this is me declaring it. So now I have to do it.
Love it. I also, to throw another unrelated to all of this TV show on the list, I had never seen and just started watching Abbott Elementary.
Oh, I've been wanting to watch it. I heard it's so good.
I love it. As a child of a teacher, I could have bet you money that Quinta's mom was a teacher, which she was. I was like, I have to look this up. This is too real. So it's hilarious and just like good-hearted and very similar to like The Office or Parks and Rec type of vibe.
Yeah, the mockumentary.
But teacher type perspectives. And I really, really liked it so far. So.
Well, really quick, just to keep it of the Gilmore Girls of it all, you got something recently that's related.
Yes, I saw it pop up on Amazon, and I was like, I must immediately buy. So I got the Gilmore Girls. I think it's the 25th anniversary specific Monopoly, or maybe it's because of the 25th anniversary they made the Monopoly of it. It is Monopoly like specific. So I'm very excited. I am going to make a reel of the opening of the box, and I think I might make all three just because it seems fun to do. Unless I will say I have not been a large Monopoly lover in the past because of the fights that I have heard are like notorious. And so I feel like this will be okay though. I don't know.
It's Gilmore Girls cozy vibes.
Yeah.
So I think it would be fun to
look really cute.
Yeah, I'm curious to see like what all the properties are. Like obviously there's the diner and the inn, but like I just want to know how like many deep cuts there are going to be. Like obviously there's the ones you can just rattle off, but I'm like, are they going to go like super deep into the lore?
Yes. I want to record the opening of it, so I have not yet. Maybe I'll just do that after we get off. The light's still out. But yes, I really want to play it. I feel like this past weekend I was in a board game mood anyway, but we were in the middle of Stardew, and you can't stop when you're in the middle. So we did win.
Yay!
So
super fun.
I'm very excited about it. Okay, let's do the case files.
I know.
Our recent spring cozies.
Yes. I was like, the format of our podcast is obviously not the vibes, but the format is kind of a riff off of My Favorite Murder, in that they do a little catch up and then they each have their own actual murder case file. That's why we call it the cozy case file. But they get known for their long-winded catch up chatting at the beginning. And so I feel like we're not at their level yet, but that was probably our longest one, but for good reason.
For super good reason. I'm like a ghost in the night here. Let me close this. You keep going.
So my case file, I'm excited because it's a format of media we have not done case files on before.
Ooh.
I'm doing an album. Like a musical album.
Fun.
Yeah. It is Proof of Life by another Joy. Her name is Joy Aladakun.
I already like it.
And I technically discovered their music, the album, a couple years ago, but I didn't fully listen to it all the way through until fairly recently. I was kind of inspired because my sister actually went to their concert a couple weeks ago because she became a bigger fan, because my sister's a huge Hozier fan. She's seen him like 3 times in the past like 2 years. And Joy was one of his openers at the concert that she went to.
That's awesome.
And
I love when an opener just gets to flourish after that. You're like, I just saw you as an opener. That's so
right. Chapel Roan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was Olivia Rodrigo's opener on I think the Guts tour. Yeah.
Wow. See, there you go.
Yeah. So this is kind of a cozy, folksy album. It's interesting because there's a lot of really heavier, deeper meaning in the actual lyrics, but the music, melodies, vibes is very cozy. So I kind of like that blend because I think it's very approachable to listen to. So Joy is an American singer, songwriter, and Proof of Life is the 4th album, but 2nd with a studio. So the first 2 were kind of just like self-produced, self-made. And so the song on the album that what I first heard and kind of discovered the music was called Changes, and how I kind of discovered it. So I don't know if I don't think I've talked about this on the pod before, but and I have to credit my sister for coming up with this idea, but every year, because, we read a lot of books, every book we read, we pick a song for that book, and we have like a really long playlist for it. And that's so cool. I picked this one, just kind of the vibes really fit. I just kind of found it on a random playlist that I was kind of searching for a book called Wild Seed Witch. And so I don't know, this song just kind of fit. So that's how I discovered it. But again, I didn't really like get into the album until the last like month or so. And this was Joy's first album to tour and to chart in both the US and the UK.
Wow.
So I thought that was kind of a fun little tidbit. The first single off the album was called Keeping the Lights On, and the second single, called Sweet Symphony, has a feature with Chris Stapleton.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up the album. I want to see what it looks like.
It has really cool artwork on it. It's very pretty.
Oh no. No, this is a hacker movie.
Oh.
I was like, this is not.
Oh no, I can send it to you if you can't find it. So the album was released on April 28th, 2023. Yeah, it's really pretty.
I found her now.
Yay! By Amiga Records, Verve, Forecast Records, and Republic Records. And awesome. In addition to Chris Stapleton, it also features collabs by Mount Joy, Manchester Orchestra, Maxo, Cream, and Noah Kahan.
Wow, that's amazing. And this is the fourth album, second via
a studio.
Yeah, that's a lot of good collabs.
Yeah, I know. And they all feel very organic. Sometimes I feel like with collabs, it kind of is like, oh, what are you doing here? But it all flows really well. Even like Chris Stapleton, who is like more country, it works in with the more like folksy vibes of the album. And how Joy actually describes it was to create helpful anthems and to resonate with anybody who feels normal and needs a little musical boost to get through the day. Cool. Which I think is like, I'm like, well, you described your album very well. That's how I feel. And they said they really hope that it was worth the heartache and the emotional labor that went into writing the album, because she had to get like really vulnerable on some of the songs. And I've got a couple of quotes from an NPR kind of article / review of it that I thought just kind of did a good job of summarizing very well of the album. So it's facets of who she is and what she's lived, seen and imagined, matters politicized by others' prejudices, and what provide the evocative details that serve as normalizing entry points to her words are hard, anti-themic expression. And then proof of life is what all-consuming work is, to lead an alert and searching existence, to break with oppressive orthodoxies, and in the face of systemic devaluing of her life and the lives of other queer people and Black Americans, to strain towards self-healing and put real trust and closeness and mutuality. There was just it was like so many like vast deep words. And I was like, I just have to directly quote this because this is just like poetic writing in journalism. But there's just like, I said this earlier, but there's just like a lot of vulnerability in the album, and reflections of Joy's identities and her life going as far back as elementary school.
Oh, wow.
And she was quoted to say that she really wanted the album to have this like in the moment feeling. And I definitely think, again, success by doing that.
Wow.
And then just a little bit more about her as an artist. Her music spans the genres of folk, R&B, rock, and pop. She has been quoted by Rolling Stone magazine to be Nashville's most low-key musical revolutionary. And again, I would say that like fully encapsulates the vibes. And just is really celebrated for this uniquely vulnerable voice, which I think obviously is really present in the album, but in the entire body of work. And like I said, done a lot of collabs. Maren Morris has also appeared on another album, and obviously toured with Hozier and is now on a solo tour. Wow. And then my last little tidbit, her song I See America was a finalist for the Recording Academy's Special Merit Award for Best Song for Social Change.
Wow. Wow, that's wild. I'm excited. I want to listen to the album now.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And I love finding those like smaller artists that I don't know, just really resonate with you in one way or another. And while obviously like mainstream music can be enjoyable, it always gets so overplayed, and I end up hating a lot of songs because I'm just like, oh, I hear this all the time. I don't even listen to the radio. So I always appreciate smaller artists, and I know they may or may not want to have their music get more popularized, but I'm like, please no, because then I won't hate it as much.
Do you think there's a like some type of sliding scale of depending upon, just because it is such a vulnerable album, if the listener is in a specific like mind space, is better or worse? Or do you think at any point you could really just like driving casually put this album on?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think if you're just having on as background vibes, I think any mood. But if you're really tuning in and listening, maybe just do a mental check beforehand and see how you're feeling. But yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah, I was just thinking of it of like, I just feel like sometimes things with like heavier themes for me personally, if I'm going through a heavier season, can be hard, and I want like light and fluffy, or like you said, like if I'm just doing something, or if it's on a playlist, I feel like that also helps, because then it will like ebb and flow between songs based upon like the vibe of it. And I feel like a folksy type vibe really lends itself well to that. But that's really cool. I'm excited to listen.
Yeah, it feels, I don't know, I just kind of feel it's like good lion chilling in a meadow music, like being reflective.
Yeah.
But because sometimes with folksy or indie music, I know to me it's more like rainy weather, but this one has more like sunny weather kind of vibes, if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Cool. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Okay, honestly,
I bet it's not even as bad as you're making it out to be.
No, I promise you it is though. Okay, because detectives. What happened was I saw a video, and actually, you know what I did? I saw a freaking pin on Pinterest, and I was like,
they always get you.
That. I know. I think I still could do that. I think what happened is my like, what if we blah blah blah, insert add more details blah 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 theme kicked in, and I thought I should add ruffles, and now I'm thinking that was not a good idea.
Oh no!
So what happened was, I feel like, you know, the let me tell you something. You know, the guy who's like supposed to be like thrown off for like bungee jumping, and he's like, let me tell you something. I feel like this. Okay, it's a bow. It's sewn. I wanted to go join fabrics. I had this whole thing in my head planned for the detectives. The vision was there. So I go to Joann Fabrics and pick out 2 fabrics. I feel like they'll vibe together. I'm a little unsure. I'm pretty sure they only kind of vibe together now, looking at it. I will show it to you. I'll have to give you the backstory of our lovely little bow first. So my first thought was, I'll put this on the front door. And then I thought, no, we're not going to put it on the front door because it's fabric. You know what I mean? So my plan was to put it on the office door. And I was like, okay, I will put it on the outside of my office door, which I still will do once I figure her out. But I looked at like 2 different tutorials and I tried to combine them. And I thought we had to push this back by 10 minutes because I was trying to finish it. Okay. It's a bow. It's sewn. It's kind of cute. It's also kind of like, well, if you laugh, it's okay.
I know. I was trying to convince Joy to let me see it so I could like control my reaction.
No, it's okay.
This is a live viewing for me.
Okay. So Don't let the haters get you down, even if you're the hater. You know what I mean? Just do the cozy thing. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Just chill.
And that's what I will say this, because Joy was like, maybe I could talk about thrifting, which I still want you to do because your top is very cute. But I was like, okay, our whole goal is to get people to enjoy cozy things, even if the end product isn't what they envision, as long as the process was enjoyable and cozy.
And I learned. I actually know how to, I would not say I did it perfectly, but I understand a lot more how to make a ruffle now, because it's like fabric and you cut it and you have to like sew it the longest length and then like try to squish it, whatever. You know what? I'm not your aunt who's fantastic at sewing. I am the girl who's just out here trying to make a bow, you know?
Hey, I didn't even get the jeans from her, so it's okay.
So I'm going to show you it in what's supposed to be its best lighting, but also her legs are too long, you know, whatever. So this is the bow.
What do you mean? That's so cute, Joy. So what is ugly about? I'm genuinely serious. What is ugly about it?
Okay, but like, look at its legs. What is this? It's way too long.
It's a little, okay, but you could trim it, right?
I mean, she's giving bow, but she's just not giving like fantastical bow. What happens? Okay, so here's the thing. You didn't see the tutorial. You're seeing my sad attempt at trying to make a ruffle.
Okay. We're going to have to put a poll in with this episode, because I guarantee you the Cozy Detectives are not going to think that it's ugly.
Okay, here's the thing, is I really want to make cute sewing things, and I want to learn more how to sew. I would like to get better at sewing my own wardrobe. And so I feel like I've made pillowcases. And the other thing that I didn't do with this is you're supposed to have like, is it batting? Is that what it's called? That you like put in the pillow.
Filler.
But I went, you know what I have? Like leftover fabric things. And so I like shoved leftover fabric in it. So it's not exactly what it was supposed to be. And the ruffles were not here in the tutorial. I thought the ruffles would be cute. So I added them.
Is that fruit on the fabric?
Yeah.
It's very fun. Yeah. Okay. I would say I can see.
I give her
to me, it looks
horrible.
No. What I was going to say is, for a bow on the door, because it is it feels more like a pillow to me.
Yeah.
Obviously, like the tails wouldn't work for a pillow, but I literally have a pillow. I mean, I got mine at Michael's, but it's like the same. I'm going to go get it actually to make you feel better, because it doesn't look it looks very good. BRB.
I'm going to get the detectives while you're gone. So I also need to make sure that, I don't know, I should have sewed this in the end too. You know?
It's the most chaotic episode. Okay, look.
Oh! Okay, that's a little better. So, I mean,
I told you.
She just was so chaotic. Making the process was stressful. Okay, I feel like I could make her work if I like filled these in a little bit more, because it's giving. I've had this pillow for a while. You know what I mean?
I don't think so. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. That was supposed to be my case file.
Well, I think it's a very cute. Oh, my hair's all messed up from.
You think this would be a night episode, but it's actually not.
It's getting nightish for me.
But yeah. So she is cute. I will fix her tail, but like
cute.
Girl, like pillow long legs over here. So
I mean, that's really. I mean, and I wouldn't even say that's that bad of a thing. I think it's just, obviously you've got longer little tails, but I don't think it's bad.
Okay. So this is what. Oh my gosh, this is going to die before you can even see it. This is the bow I was promised.
Yeah, yours looks like that. What are you talking about?
That's okay.
Okay, I think
I'm grateful that you're giving me grace. You know, I'm not going to.
It's not even grace, and I would put that up in my home. Okay, I think the problem. She's very cute.
Maybe she's just not solve the same issues.
Well, I was gonna say, it's one of those things of like, when you spend time working on something, it looks very different to you.
Yeah, I see all the negatives.
Yeah, like even if you're not having a good day, you look in the mirror and you're like, oh my gosh, but then you take a picture like, wow, that was not how I thought I would, right? And so, like, I'm not saying this as your friend. I'm not saying this to be nice. Like, I genuinely don't even know what's wrong with it.
Well,
I think it's very cute. I'm always like, I've been trying to do better about like mixing patterns.
Yeah, I got kind of nervous.
We haven't really described it if you're just listening.
But I just made fun of
this
it.
This is the plea to like get on YouTube.
Yeah, she's not bad. She's like a flower patterned, like very light flower pattern though. So it's a yellow and white like checker for the body, I would say. And then the top and the bottom is ruffles of the bow section, which I did make, which is really cool actually. And that's a different pattern. So that's a different fabric, but it's like a fruit spring fabric thing. But since my case style, while very cute, I don't know. I do have a couple of thrift tips because I think that's another thing that I've been really doing a lot. Like I have been really enjoying sewing, but I feel like I also, specifically because I've been looking for a lot of house things, just because I'm just in that feeling. I feel like maybe it's spring, maybe it's something. Oh, also I sent Larissa, this is not a aesthetic video, so I'm sorry, Chrissy, check this out see after. But I sent Larissa a video. So I also got this little like Bissell sprayer thing that I've been obsessed with for cleaning. So I feel like it's like spring cleaning. I feel like that should have been my 2%, whatever. But spring cleaning, I feel like I've been like decorating and doing all of that. So, anywho, I feel like in thrifting, the biggest thing that I do, which I have said before in here, is have a list. So I have a list and I make sure that that's in my head. And then the way that I walk through the thrift store is the same every time. And I would say that would change person to person depending upon like your favorite things to look for. So I really like looking at the dresses and I really like looking at the shoes. I actually hit home goods last, which is crazy because I've been looking for home goods things. But I feel like I just have like the same routine that I walk through the thrift store in. And I try to put it like, so if I have an idea of something that I want, I will put it in the cart because there's nothing worth, especially because it's a thrift store and everything's one of one. If you're like, maybe, and then you go back and it's in someone else's cart. So I do put it in the cart. But my other thing that is a thrift store pet peeve of mine is when people, like wherever either if there's a try on or if there's like a mirror or something, when everybody just like puts all their stuff there, bugs me. So my rule is also if I pick it up and I decide I don't want it, I have to walk it all the way back.
Oh, that's good for you. I feel like I would do that at a thrift store, but I'm really bad at other stores sometimes of not doing that. So you're motivating me to be better.
But I feel like there's a section for it in other ones. Like my thrift stores here don't have a try on area. And so it's less of like putting it on the put back specific rack. Like that's fine. But when it's like, everybody's just like creating a pile somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, if it's something where I'm trying it on, I will put it in the like, but if I'm like at Target or Walmart and I grab something and then I'm like, oh, I don't want this anymore. Like I'm so bad. I sometimes will walk it back, but sometimes I'm like, I'll just pick it.
That's different.
Yeah,
too,
that's true.
Know? Because then like they can put it back. But maybe that's just like, I worked at Disney. I worked in merchandising at Disney. And so little kids be eating those plushes.
Like, oh no.
Anyway. So yes. So those are my biggest things for thrifting. If you're really unsure of where an item like is from, or like you're unsure about the branding or something like that, and you want to check for quality, I always will check obviously the tag for like, even if it's not a like quote unquote like cool girl brand or whatever it is, I look a lot more for fabric content. So this is a like older vintage. Actually, it's funny they were talking about France. This is like a French shirt brand.
Ooh.
But it's silk. So it was like, I just like that. It helps. I feel like it's good for me skin or something. Yeah. So I feel like I'm so hectic today, but you know, that's my day.
You're good. My computer's being super hectic. I can't like, you're probably going to have to end the recording when we get there. Cause like, okay, now it finally popped up. It was not letting it like minimize the window. So like, I was like, yeah. And then it was like, zoom in, out, in, out, in, out. And I was just like, oh,
getting dizzy.
Not cozy. We got it for at least for now.
Fine. We figured it out. But anyway, just your 2% cozy.
My 2% is kind of a harken back to an old case file in a way. Really quick before we go into 2%, I was going to mention this when you were talking about decorating and everything because in the process of finding, I really struggled to find a recent spring cozy, mainly because we're at the very beginning of April as of recording this, and in March, I reread all of Abby Jimenez's books, which also harken back to an old case file, our first one.
Yeah.
Because she had her newest book just come out yesterday.
Wow.
So I was
wait, isn't that a new series too?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like our Instagram thinks that we're the same peeps because I get a lot of Abby stuff and I'm like,
yeah. That's so funny. But anyway, so I've read new books, but they were all very sad and emotional and not cozy vibes. So then I watched a few new to me movies thinking I could talk about them. One was a movie that I had said I was going to watch, Something's Gotta Give, which we talked about in the last episode. Yeah.
Oh.
No, the Celebrity Chef one. Because they feature the Barefoot Contessa store in the movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was just kind of disappointed in the ending and a lot of the plot, but peak Nancy Meyers vibes. Oh my gosh. Wow. And it's because it's set in the Hamptons, so it's like this beachy vibe. Oh my gosh. I was like salivating with how gorgeous it was. And I didn't know this until watching it, but Hans did the score. And it felt to me, I even said this to Jacqueline, I was like, this felt like his little test run. And then he was like, I'm going to go a little harder for the holiday. Because there was moments where I was like, oh, this feels like holiday light. Like we're almost to the holiday soundtrack, but not fully there. And then when she was like, oh, do you want to do another movie for me? And he was like, yeah, now's my time.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool. I also forget too, I watched an interview with him and he did The Lion King, which somehow my brain forgets. And he was talking about
I saw that.
Oh,
it's so emotional. You can say what it was.
Yeah. Well, now I feel like I'm going to say it wrong. So to the Cozy Detective, about how the song, I'm forgetting it. What song is it?
It's
it's an ode to his father, basically.
Yeah, it's when he sees Mufasa. If you haven't seen Lion King, sorry, this is going to be a spoiler, but yikes, if you haven't seen it yet. We're King, both so silly today. But yes, Mufasa dies, and then Simba sees him later, and it's this like big cloud ghost type thing. And so the music playing, that was the piece that Hans was talking about in this interview.
What privileged kids were we to be able to hear Hans Zimmer as a child? And he also had said that he really wasn't super interested in children's movies, but then he had a 6-year-old and he was like, well, I can't really take him to my premieres. And so that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad
but you can say what the song was for.
Like an ode to his father, basically.
Yeah, his actual father.
I know, because
then it was
for recently passed. And,
yeah,
but what a great way to work through your emotions, you know? And then getting to your 6-year-old's going to watch this movie with you and just all of that. So yeah, that was our Hans Zimmer jumpo off. Anyway, what was your 2%?
Back to 2%. Sorry, we are all over the place with this episode, but
I feel like it's the chaotic pillow energy, you know?
Well, I feel like I feed off of energies a lot, and so when you got on and you were like, I was like, oh, that's the vibes for the night. I love it. Anyways, 2% focus.
We're back.
Harkening back to an old case file, I mentioned when we did the actual Cozy Detective episode on Cozy Detectives.
Yeah.
Because I did Nancy Drew. And I love listening to, it was at the time I was really only listening to one ambiance Nancy Drew video on YouTube, and now I've just been listening to a lot more of them lately. And we got some rain this morning, and I was listening to that with the rain. It was just so delicious. And I was thinking, because I knew we were recording later today, I'm like, oh, I don't have a 2%. And then I just sat in the moment. I was like, oh, this is it. Just elevating the moment by a little bit, making it cozier while I was at work. And I was like, okay, there's my 2%.
Did you add anything to your office? I feel like I haven't asked that in a minute.
Not since we last recorded. I'm trying to save on money, so I haven't. But I do need to go do a sweep of the house and transport some stuff. But anyways, what's your 2% not a vacuum cleaner?
I feel like I have two other things that I feel like my brain has thought of as 2%. So I am going to say them both, and they'll be 1% each. So one is, I think, more like classic 2%, which is I have those and have been using it forever. You know, like if you have somebody come over to help with like the stove or something, they always like leave a magnet or they leave something.
Mm-hmm.
They left a little like sheet that you could write your groceries on, and
oh, cute.
I used that till it was all gone. But that was all gone, and I was like, oh no. And so I thought, well, what would be cute? I'm trying to like learn just to like, I don't know, like what I like, you know?
Yeah.
And so I got these like fruit outline ones, so like the little border of them is fruit. Yeah. And I feel like it's cute. I feel like it's because it's spring. I've been wanting that. It's a variety pack of ones. It's like cherries and like I think watermelon and lemon and then avocado. I'm like, girl, why are you in here?
I know. Avocado can be cute.
Yeah,
if you get it in the right window of like 6 hours. I think it is a fruit.
It is a fruit. It's one of those tomato fruits where you're like, why are you here?
It's because it's savory, but it's just avocados just are having a hard time because they're only good for like 2 seconds and then they're brown again. And I'm like, get it together.
Okay, that's a great segue to my second 2%.
Did you get an avocado saver?
Oh no, I just eat it. No saving needed. I wish I could have an avocado tree, but
yes,
it's just not gonna happen. I just know it. It's
well, move in with Logan and you'll get one.
I know. Well, too late. Logan moves in with us. We adopt him. Teach him how to treat people right. Anywho, wow, the energy levels is so weird here.
Hopefully they like it. It's a little different than normal, but hopefully you're along for the ride.
Right. I feel like I also been watching a lot of basement something basement. It's those two guys.
Basement yard. The two guys. Yeah.
And I like their chaotic energy, and I'm like, you know what?
We're cozy chaos.
Yeah, cozy chaos. We'll take it. Because some of us talking about like a sandwich, so it's nothing heavy. So I've been making this breakfast sandwich with an avocado, and it's delicious. So what I do is that everything bagel, and then I toast that, and then I do scrambled eggs and 2 slices of cheese, and then I do a half an avocado, and then so the way that I do it, which I'm sure everybody's going to know this, but I somehow feel like I just discovered this. So the half avocado I cut. And then you get a spoon and you scoop it. So you have slices. I just had never done that. I don't know why.
You know who you're talking to, right?
Right? I know. Yeah, anyway. I'm like, here's a secret hint for avocado. I don't know. I thought it was genius.
I'll let you think that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And then 2 slices of bacon. And then I put the avocado, everything but the avocado type of sprinkle is the Trader Joe's one. I put that on the avocado. So it's double the everything. She's delicious. And I've been having that almost every morning. So I feel like it's also like healthy fats. Because I've been trying to like eat more for my body. Because I feel like that's a thing that I never super learned. Like I know there's a bunch of ways to do it. But I'm just trying to like, hey, what does my body want? Versus like, what does my stress want? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I've been trying to. Because I have to eat super early before work, and so I'd be like really hungry in like mid-morning. So I've been trying to do like more protein and stuff in the morning, but I just not hungry enough for like meat. So I got some like protein packed yogurt and I have it with peanut butter, so that's like helped me stay fuller for longer. But I was like, I'm already hungry.
Because what ends up happening is I'll have my first coffee. And then I'm like, okay, I'll have my second coffee. And then I'm like full with coffee. And then it's like noon and I'm hungry. And I'm like hungry, like way too hungry. And so I've been trying to get ahead of that and be better about it. So thank you for listening. Cozy Detectives.
I have a couple DMs for 2%
please
today, which is kind of fun because we're always asking, and normally we just get our 2% through like our question box, but we got some DMs. And per our request, people have been saying how to pronounce their usernames, which is good because my favorite one, and this is one that I have So we've mentioned her a lot because she was like the inspiration for the travel episode.
Yeah.
I always read it as Susanna Gurley UK. That was her last name. It's like girl plus garlic, she said. So it's like,
yes, girl, love garlic.
I know, I'm like, oh, garlic, but no, it's I think this is how I should have like practiced, but I think it's garlic. All like one word, because I always just like my eyes jumped and just read it like girly UK, like she loves the UK. So sorry, Savannah. But she said her 2% this week is painting her toenails in different shades of pink and coral so that they look like sherbet. And then her nails, she did in a color variety of peeps, like very Easter vibes, which I think is really fun.
That's so fun. I love it.
Yeah. And then this is from Susanna Delia. She messaged us and said, I'm catching up on old episodes, but from the Cozy Spring episode, because we talked about grandma skills.
Yeah.
She said her grandma skill that she's loving is mending. In such a disposable society, I love fixing things and giving them more life. I just mended my dog's big canvas bed. He'd ripped a big tear in. She's turned her kids with holy knees into shorts. Oh, pants, sorry. Not her kids' holy knees. Their pants. That's kind of an important detail. And she sews up little holes in pant seams and shirts, etc. She says it's such a great skill and a way of thinking that is going by the wayside, but I find so cozy and satisfying, which I absolutely agree. I think that's such a good point.
Yeah.
And thank you both for sending those via DM. We really appreciate it.
We very much so do. Please keep sending those. It is very fun. Obviously, it's like fun to talk to each other, but it's also really fun to talk to the Cozy Detectives.
Yeah. Which, speaking of which,
yes, please.
By the time this episode airs, we should, and either today or a day later, around the time, we'll probably post it a couple times in case you miss it. But we have some prompts in our Instagram story that we're going to be asking for our special 1 year of the pod episode. So please respond, vote, interact, engage, give us suggestions, because we really want to involve you all in that episode because you mean a lot to us.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, thank you for listening. She says again, be sure to follow on Instagram and YouTube at Blanket Fort Files Pod. Send us your 2%, as we always say. Subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts and YouTube on there too. Follow us there. And then join us next week in the Blanket Fort, where we're going to discuss the coziness of Jane Austen.
So excited. I'm excited.
One of the things from that is a Bolo list item, which we have talked about.